All right, so let's break down the Do REI Deals sales script. Now, just remember, when I say script, I am not saying this with the intention for you to memorize this verbatim. It is important that you do memorize it, internalize the philosophy behind it so that you can make it your own, as opposed to saying it verbatim. In fact, you want to sound as natural as possible, regardless of what type of lead you're speaking to or what type of distressed owner you're speaking to. You still want to be able to sound like the person next door. Now, there are a lot of personalities out there, and some personalities are a little more analytical. You may have the opportunity, or you may want to lean more towards speaking from more analytical perspective. And you may have some folks out there who are more communicative, and you do want to be more friendly and more chummy. You really want to, for lack of a better word, mimic the tone and pace of the person you're speaking to. And we'll get into that down the road. But for the most part, you're not trying to sound or prove to sellers and buyers how much you know about real estate, how much you know about their issue. You are here to listen and to be friendly and to make connections, to see if there's an opportunity for you all to work together. So let's take a look. So essentially, there are 7 parts of the anatomy of the script, and I get this directly from different resources like John Martinez is an amazing sales coach out there. Todd Toback is an amazing sales coach. This guy, David Sandler, is like the godfather of the new way of selling, where before it was like a lot of high pressure sales. And now not now, but he was able to help usher in a way of selling that was more collaborative, more inquiry based, and wasn't as pushy. And in fact, you'll see one of the first part of the anatomy of the script is the disruption, because we do have to deal with the fact that people are used to folks having conversations with them, trying to sell them things. And we know that none of us really like to be sold. We like to buy things. We much prefer to feel like we bought a deal than they sold. And in this situation, because we're actually trying to buy a property from someone, it's a little flip, but we're trying to earn the right to be able to buy their property, all right, at a discount or at a price that we can make a profit off of. All right, let's keep rocking. And so the sales process, the flow goes from disruption, that's the very intro, to setting the rules, where you'll constantly be setting the rules. Even in disruption, you're kind of setting the rules, setting the expectations, setting the rules so that people can play to win. And then you go through the discovery, where you're seeking to understand their pains or their desires. Number 4, the impact of their pain and the desire on them. Of course, number 5, you're also attempting to find any deal breakers, anything that could be an obstacle in your deal, so that you can go ahead and address it now. And number 6, you're getting a pre-commitment to the actual yes or no. And number 7, you're either closing, getting the contract, or you're handing it off to the next person in your stage. Now, please note that this can happen. These 7 stages are, they could happen over the course of a 5-minute conversation. They could happen over the course of a 5-month, 5-year follow-up. But you're steadily trying to set the rules and set the expectations and move persons forward through the sales process, but it may not be something that happens immediately. Conditions, price, reason for selling, timeline. That's our good CPR time that we were using to pre-qualify deals. And it's still the same thing. Much of what was shared in the pre-qualifying stage is going to be revisited as you continue to qualify. And sometimes I'll even just let the seller know, hey, I know you spoke to one of my team members and is probably repeating all this, but just catch me up to speed. That's a great phrase, borrowed from Pace Morby. Catch me up to speed. What's going on here? So so you'll be able to hear it in their words, because you want them talking. You want to be speaking 20% of the time or less, and them speaking 80% of the time, but you're still controlling the conversation because you are asking the questions and steering the conversation. The person who's asking the questions quite often is the one who's controlling the conversation. And it works out really well, because when we're talking about connecting with people and building rapport, people like to be listened to. So you're in a great position. By you asking the questions, you're in a position to build great, awesome rapport. And yeah, so just real quick, we've already gone over these before, but condition is like the condition of the property. And we're asking open-ended questions, like what updates have been done the past 5 years, as opposed to did you repair the roof? You know, we want open-ended questions, open-ended statements that get the seller speaking. What are you hoping to get out of this? Oh, what's a price you would not take? Well, why are you selling now? What's next? What's going on for you? The timeline. Okay, if we agree on terms, what's your timeline? How soon are you closing? Usually we close within, and that's your market specific. Is there a reason you need more time or less time? You're really just trying to really get motivation, because that's what's going to help you determine and find out if you actually have the resources to be able to help them actualize whatever their goals are based on their motivation. Now, let's see. Oh, this is the 4 pillars of qualifying. We've gone over that, but I want to move through. I want to share with you all. Well, this is just interesting to see, though, just to see how the lead management flow is for my team when I was running Aqua Team. Now we do REI deals, but still same thing. We're generating leads, qualifying them, generate the leads, the data, qualify them through the CPR time, and then lead acquisition, follow up, convert those bad boys, and then market that bad boy. And transaction coordination is a very important part, but we're getting off track here. We're talking about the script, so let's keep rocking. Well, actually, this may be good to help understand. These are numbers that were taken from my team in, I believe, the last quarter, 2022. We recognized when I was using a VA that the VA virtual assistant making calls, pre-qualifying leads, that they need to have 14,277 calls per month. And that was getting us 102 quality leads per month. Now we need to follow up 2,109 times per month to be able to close 3 deals. I didn't put how many contracts we got in there here. I was just trying to simplify it, but just letting you know, there's a lot of calls to make. Don't be overwhelmed by that. A lot of these calls won't be answered, but you're dialing, and you got to put in the time. I would say at least 2 hours a day is sufficient to really generate some good quality leads. So what does that look like? About 3,500 calls per week, 20 leads we're getting out of there, following up about 421 times and getting 0.75 deals a week. So really the funnel, you need to put in a lot of reps to be able to make the calls happen. But it's awesome because as you continue to fill up your pipeline, you all will constantly have deals popping. And if you're constantly doing what we always say, generate leads every day and follow up with leads every day, you're going to win. All right. So back to the script, though. Some notes about it. Let's make sure you're likable, agreeable. You do not need to debate or argue with the seller at all, even if you know you're right. Now, being agreeable does not mean that you're a pushover at all. In fact, sometimes you may find some sellers may want you to really, that's just their love language. So you want to be able to match their tone, and they will respect you for it. A lot of times we call those driver personalities. I forget the personality battery test that comes from drivers. And is it from? Almost said it. Oh, I hope maybe I'll put it in the show notes if I remember it. The DISC profile, DISC, DISC profile. Driver is one of them. I do remember that. DISC, DISC. You can take it online. It's free. It's pretty cool. Maybe you should take it with your team just to see what type of personalities and work styles fit with you. But regardless, make sure you're building rapport. Certainty, confidence, and competency are what people are looking for. So be likable. Make sure you're serving. Make sure you're thinking about serving first, not just trying to get the property under contract. That means you have to be listening very well. Make sure you know the script eternally so that you don't sound like you're just memorizing it, or you can become your own. And whenever you're in doubt, fall back on asking questions connected to the CPR time. And again, this is a skill. You can learn it. So make sure you are practicing. So the first part of the script is the disruption and introduction, building a rapport. And I quite often say, hey, I'm looking for John, or someone answers the phone. Hey, is John there? But actually, Jovan, one of my sales managers, it's really challenged me even on this part. Again, this is a script that's changing. He starts by saying, when somebody rings in, he says, "Hey, how you doing?" in a real calm way, or matching their tone if he heard their tone when they say hello. Like, I'm fine. Yeah. Hey, this is Javon. I was just giving you a call about property at 17 Main Street. We're trying to buy in the area, just seeing if you might be interested in selling. So here you'll see it's written, hey, this Courtney, hey, I know this call's a little out of the blue. Well, hey, I'm looking for John. And we say the first name so we sound friendly. I know this call's a little out of blue, but I was called about a property I believe you own at, and you say that address, and just assume that it's the person who owns it. And we're buying property in the area. Just wanted to see if you would consider an offer on the property there. So you see the hesitation. That's another disruption. It's like, I'm not sure I believe you own, but so it's that little hesitation. Sounds doesn't sound as polished, doesn't sound as, hi, we're calling you about a warranty on your life insurance. Remember, the first 20 seconds is going to get you the next 20 seconds. Remember to be super friendly, but not where you're sounding fake or sounding like a customer representative. Make sure you're smiling. You can feel the energy when you actually smile. It comes across the telephone waves. And again, remember the seller's tone. That's so important. Again, folks, we're basing this off of human psychology. And we know that as we developed, that we had to make sure, especially back in the day, that things were safe. Things known were safe. So when we showed someone that we are like them, we're showing them that we're safe. Actually, one of the reasons, if I step on my soapbox, the challenge with diversity and the challenges with a lot of the oppressive things that are going on taking place is out of the core fear. People not recognizing how actually connected we are, or when they see seeming difference, they're afraid and they fall back on biases and pains that cause a lot of challenges. If you can't pronounce the seller's name, just simply say, look for owner of blah 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 Main Street. I'm calling because I'm not sure if you own it, but I'm trying to buy property in the area, just seeing if you're interested in selling it. All right. Part 2 is to set expectations. Well, great. We base our offers on the condition of the property, the market value, and of course, the seller's situation. So I'll just ask you a few questions to see if we're a good fit. It usually takes about 5-7 minutes to see if we're the buyers. Either way, we'll sit with you and figure out what the best options are for you. Does that sound like it work? Does this work? Is this a bad time? Now you see, I said, does it sound like it works? But I do have highlighted, is this a bad time? I actually sometimes put that in the front of the script. Again, this is a living script, but sometimes when I even start off and at the beginning, I'm trying to buy a property at 74 Main Street. But it sounds like I caught you at a bad time. Again, this is changing some of the, I guess, some of the old sacred cows are out there. Back in the day, Dale Carnegie and all the folks like, get to yes, make sure your person saying yes, yes. But people have got conditioned and used to that. So actually, if we give sooner we can give the seller the opportunity, permission to say no, the sooner they feel in control. So when I usually ask or tell them it sounds like it's a bad time, or is this a bad time, and they say no, this is cool, they have granted me, subconsciously granted me permission to continue to going. They've literally granted me permission as well, but now they're in control, or at least they assume the sense that they're in control. And it's an important thing. So make sure that you're one great way to get to know is that a bad time? Shout out to Chris Voss, and probably have a book over here somewhere. Never Split the Difference. Amazing book on sales negotiation, a former FBI negotiator, speaking of how you actually, how to, with active, empathetic listening, be able to negotiate in very efficient ways. And they so tell them about your property. Catch me up to speed. This is after you've established that, hey, here's the rules. What I do, the rules are that I'm going to base our offer on condition, market value, and situation. I ask you questions to figure out if it fits. Does that work? Cool. All right, let's play the game. Catch me up to speed. All right. Again, we're building rapport. This is not about the property. People work with people they like. We're listening for issues and signs, and we're taking really great notes. And I highly recommend that you take notes as if someone else is going to have to read them and take over this lead. Because if you're building out system and tools, hopefully will be firing yourself soon, and someone else will be able to step in. And a lot of these leads, some of them may take 2 years, 3 years. Some of them will take 2 months, 3 months. Some of them will take shorter, but we just want to make sure that we're preparing a system, not just a, hobby and stuff. Again, you're setting expectations. This is where you're listening. We're listening for pieces of puzzle, pain points, anything that's indicating that they have a desire or pain. We're listening for it, and we're taking note of that so that we can explore that during our discovery. Some of the ways that you seek pain is, so why do you want to sell the house? Or what time frame are you looking for? When do you want to sell? Where are you in the process of selling? Have you tried listing with a realtor? Why not? Why don't you? Sounds like a great property. I almost always say that. Well, John, it really sounds like a good property here. Why are we talking? Why would you even want to sell? They're going to try to convince you. So these are all type of questions. Well, since we buy a property as is, what kind of repairs does it need? Well, if you had $10,000, what's some of the first things you would do? You're really finding like the pain in the property. Maybe there's distress there, or maybe you're finding pain in the seller's situation. And it's important to seek that pain. Just like your physicians, just like when someone steps into a doctor's office, you're going to get a lot of questions that seem to have nothing to do with what you went to the doctor's office for, but they're priming, they're setting, they're helping you come to the understanding, so that when they do deliver a prognosis or a prognosis, I don't know what's the right word, diagnosis? I think a prognosis is, let me stop. When they deliver the diagnosis to you, you're already conditioned to be able to receive it, to be able to hear it, to understand it through. And they're discovering how can I match the right type of prescription to this person's issue, or right type of diagnosis to this person's issue. And that's what we're trying to do. So when we get to the pain, they have a bad tenant, let's go a step further. This tenant sounds like this tenant is really challenging to you. How's that affecting you, just daily? Well, wow, this that hole in the roof, that's pretty big, but I'm sure you should have somebody. Could you just get up there and fix it up yourself? Things like that. So we're really trying to dig deep into the pain, lean into it, folks, because we're helping them understand and create the meaning for the value that we're bringing. So it is so important. You have noticed that I didn't say anything about we buy properties as is. Oh, I did mention earlier when I was talking about the repair as a way to get more information about the rehab. But I didn't say anything about how fast we can close, or we buy with cash, or anything. This is not about you. This is not about us. It's about them. We have to be humble enough to be a part of their journey and listen, and not try to make the journey ours. So when you're asking questions like about the mortgage, make sure you ask matter of factly. Really, it's not what you say, almost always how you say it. And discussing pain points is all right here, because this is where we actually get to serve. We get to help them really carve out or understand and better get a hold of the grip of the situation that they're dealing with. And pulling away is a great opportunity to get more information out of folks, and make them or help them feel less pressured, and you really get a lot of great information. So a pull away is exactly what it sounds like. Have you ever had a dog? My dog Chip, if I let him out, or if he actually jumps, open the door and he runs out the house, I know I can't chase him. If I'm chasing him, he's going to keep running because he thinks we're playing a game. Just the same with sellers. You can't chase. Oh, well, I'll do this. It sounds really desperate. Deal breath is not cool. You can smell it a mile away. That's why you fill up your pipeline. But if I see Chip and I start running away from him, I'll run to my car. Oh, he's chasing after me. So same thing with our sellers. We want to pull away. Well, why don't you sell it? Well, why don't you go ahead? Or we should go ahead and do that. Or, doesn't look like it's matching us. Well, if you're in my situation, what would you do? We're really helping them close the deal if we do it properly. It's some of the way it sounds. It sounds like dealing with this tenant is a challenge. Is it okay if I tell you how we work? And then, this is just some more language on when you're actually responding with the value that you can bring. And this is also a section where you're letting them know what you can do, but this is tailored specifically to the pain points here. So these are a lot of language words here, but really what we're trying to do is specifically say how our benefits connect to and can resolve their pain and what they said that would mean to them, so it's very important that when we discuss what we can do, we discuss how these benefits that we have connect to their pain point and what the meaning makes. So for instance, say, all right, John, so you let me know that that this tenant hasn't been paying in the last 6 months. It's really a challenge to you. So one thing I can do is check and see with my team if we're able to, I don't know, if we're able to take over the purchase the house with the tenant in it and we deal with that. What would that do for you? Is that something that sounds like you would be interested in or help you, or probably not? So the probably not was the pull away, the connect to the pain that he's having with the challenge of not having a paying tenant. And then me saying, well, is this something if we can take over the as is with the tenant? Again, I'm not saying we're going to do it or anything like that. Well, I'm not saying that we buy it as is, we'll take it all, blah, blah, blah. I'm really helping them come to a conclusion or realization if it is the right fit. And if it doesn't fit, no worries. If it doesn't respond to their pain in the way that they feel like is going to help them, then, no worries. We just keep circling back and working on it. And we keep building and discovering and seeing if we can get closer to a conclusion. Yeah, remember your whole point is to establish rapport and make them like you. If you can't get a price out of them, just let them know someone will call back, wants to run the numbers. They'll try to get prices out of you. They'll ask you, hey, so what do you want to sell it for? Or what do you want to buy it for? And you can just let them know, hey, my job really, I'm still at the discovery stage. My job is just to collect information. Now, if you are the end acquisition sales, you can just let them know at this stage, I'm just trying to figure out what I have going here so I can know if I can make a profit, be quite honest. And you can be brutally honest with your leads, with your sellers. In fact, they'll respect you more, and it's a great way to establish rapport. Now, with deal breakers, a lot of people get afraid about asking about deal breakers. Sometimes the price can be a deal breaker. Sometimes it's other people in the space. Sometimes it's the timeline. So you make sure you're seeking out and finding out what are deal breakers. Mr. Speaker, now, is there anyone else you need to be speaking to about this before we move forward? And if you find out there is, then you may need to say, okay, before we keep talking, perhaps me, you, and your husband can get together on Zoom or on a call. Does that make sense? Or your brothers or whatever it is. Or if they're like, are there any other things that would stop us from moving forward? You can really just simply ask that, because we're really trying to figure out what those deal breakers are. And don't be so afraid of losing the deal based on finding something that might not be able to be resolved, because you'd rather have it now than, you've been working with this for a month or 2 weeks or whatever and find out later. And sometimes your deal breakers are opportunities for you to even show even more competency and build rapport. Yep. Yep. Now, in your initial conversations, that at some point you guys agreed on the terms and you're somewhere close to price, you can just let them, and you guys have decided, okay, we're going to move forward, or we ask them what's next, and it's like, I guess I'll sign some paperwork. You put the paperwork together, you send it over to them, and you again let them know the next step. Keep letting them know what the rules of the game are so that you both can play to win. Next step is I'm gonna send you over the purchase agreement. Now, this depends on how they're getting the purchase agreement from you. A lot of my stuff is virtual, so I'll send it over either mobile notary or 99% of the time, really just through e-sign. But a mobile notary is awesome. But I'll let them know if I haven't gone over it with them and sitting with them so they sign it. I'll sit with them now or talk to them and let them know that next step is for you to sign. I'll send over the purchase agreement. Once it's signed, our title company will contact you within the next 1 or 2 business days to set up the next steps. Purchase agreement, pretty straightforward. I can give you a call to review it. I guess I did put that in there just in case I'm at that stage. But what's a good email address for me? What's a good email address I can send the documents to? All right, great, thanks. Be on the lookout for the document and let me know when you receive it. We can review it together. I can give you a call back in 10 minutes after you had a chance to review it. Which would you prefer? So then, yeah, you do have the chance to answer any questions they may have about the contract. Sometimes, most times, they'll just go ahead and sign it if you've already established, uh, established pre-commitments. All right. If you agreed on terms and price, oops, oh, what's going on here? Oh, oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm going the wrong direction. Oh, yeah. Cool stuff here, though. All right, all right, all right. Anyone can tell? Oh, if you agreed on terms and price on initial call, yeah, just make sure you call back or make sure you get the contract signed, and then immediately send it over to the title company and get the process rolling. All right, you saw some other stuff there. I'll leave those in there. I have a sales system pretty much course, so you pretty much get that for free, and you'll be able to look through that. And yes, this will help you establish or get an understanding of the script. Go ahead and print it off, start working on it, put it on note cards, make sure you're memorizing the different parts. Role play by yourself, role play with other folks. Hey, reach out to me. We can role play together. That'd be pretty awesome. And I hope you find it very useful and get a lot of deals from it. All right. Cheers.